Hey guys, number one Marmaduke fan here, taking a look at Rachel Smythe's Lore Olympus, the number one comic on Webtoons. I had not read this before. I went in blind. This is continuing my series of just buying a bunch of Walmart and Target books to see what's hip. I went in not thinking I probably wasn't going to love it, and I was really pleasantly surprised. This is fun. So it's a modern retelling of the myth of Persephone and Hades. In previous videos, I've kind of talked about how the problem with some modern retellings is you don't gain a lot by making it modern. You just lose what's special in the original. But Rachel Smythe really knows her Greek myth. And one of the fun things about the original Greek myths is that the Greek gods are a bunch of degenerate, psycho, rapist, petty bastards. So when you take those characters and you bring them into a modern setting, and you have like the urban environment and like the partying, they work. So they're bad characters, but they're fun bad characters. And there is a genius idea in Lore Olympus, so I kind of see how it got popular. So let me talk a bit about the original myth of Persephone and Hades as I understand it, so I can make my point about how Rachel Smythe's adapting it. So Persephone is the goddess of spring. She is tricked and taken into the underworld and offered pomegranate seeds. And she eats just 4 pomegranate seeds, and that's enough. If you eat any food in the underworld, you belong to the underworld. But since she only ate 4 pomegranate seeds, she spends winter in the underworld, and her mother Demeter is distraught. And then she returns to her mother Demeter in spring, and the flowers bloom. So it's a myth that explains the changing of the seasons. Now, what's the moral of the story of Persephone? On the one hand, Persephone seems to have fallen for Hades' trick. He deceived her into eating food in the underworld. On the other hand, her mother Demeter seems very controlling. She doesn't want her child to ever leave her, and she creates winter in her despair, maybe as kind of like a petty act of revenge, right? So the genius of Rachel Smythe's reimagining of it is she's picking up on some of those subtextual ideas. And so, for example, in Lore Olympus, Persephone's mother, Demeter, is hyper-controlling, and there's a whole visual motif where Demeter locked Persephone in a greenhouse for years and has only just started to allow her to go out in the world. There's also an idea that Hades is a bit of a misunderstood character. This is especially true if you only know the Disney version of the characters. The Disney version of the character is this delightful, hammy villain who's scheming and is very Luciferian. But Disney, of course, is cleaning up the Greek myths. It wouldn't be fun in the Disney movie to see Zeus running around as a goose raping people all the time, right? So of course, Disney makes Zeus a nice guy and it makes Hades the bad guy. But really, Hades isn't Lucifer. Sure, he's definitely punishing people forever in the underworld, but you get the sense that Hades is punishing people who deserve it in the underworld. And kind of one of the most pregnant ideas about Hades is he did not want to be king of the underworld. Zeus wanted to be the king of Olympus. Poseidon got to choose second, and he wanted to be the king of the sea. And Hades got what was left, which was the underworld. So the genius of Rachel Smythe's world is this is a taboo bad boy love story where Hades, of course, he's the king of the underworld. He's got evil dogs running around. He has a bad reputation, and the 3 kings of Olympus, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, they all have just like a bad reputation, and they're running around causing trouble all the time. But Hades is secretly the only decent soul of the 3. So he is a bad boy in the sense that he has that aura, but he's not really bad. He has a bad reputation because of his brothers, and he's struggling to be responsible and do the right thing. I thought that was great, and I really appreciated that subtle aspect of that. And I also kind of enjoy how Persephone is imagined as like a nubile young woman. She has this great line where she says, "I'm naive, but I'm not stupid." So that actually kind of like segues into something else nice. So as this is definitely Rachel Smythe's adaptation of these characters. And there's a little sexiness, by the way, so be prepared for that. So as she modernizes them, she translates them correctly. So they'll say, kind of like fun modern things. They'll use iPhones and modern lingo, but they're true to who they are in the myths. And then the dialogue, even if it's kind of like goofy, it is true to who they are as characters. Persephone is consistently, young, enthusiastic. She wants freedom from her mother, but she's not sure what she's going to do with this freedom. Artemis is I guess sort of like kind of like a feminist goddess figure, suspicious of men, a perpetual virgin. Uh, who else? Okay, Aphrodite. The reason Aphrodite hates her is Hades makes the comment that Persephone is as beautiful as Aphrodite, and Aphrodite instantly hates her. Now, I don't think that's part of the original myth, but that is 100% something Aphrodite would totally do. What else? Excuse me. Oh, okay. I want to talk about Hera, actually. So this is something where I noticed a change, and the change was pretty intelligent. So in the original myth, or at least in some versions of them, Persephone is the bastard child of Zeus. Now, it's very likely that Rachel Smythe wanted to change that to avoid the implication that Zeus is marrying his niece. So Hera is clearly no longer the bastard child of Zeus. And the way I figured that out is she and Hera actually have a very good relationship. And I was thinking, that's weird. Shouldn't Hera be hating Persephone because she's Zeus's bastard daughter? Oh, I get it. So she's not Zeus's bastard daughter anymore. So even when she makes a change to the mythology, she sees the implications of that. So she didn't just change it and then have Hera hating Persephone for no reason. Hera no longer hates. The reason that Hera is petty to people is because she just can't stand the thought of Zeus running around sleeping with everybody. There are also nice expanded aspects of the myth. So she meets Cupid, and the myth of Cupid and Psyche comes into play. So Persephone and Hades is the driving force across these stories. But as we get glimpses into other characters, we get glimpses into their myths, and they're woven together very intelligently. I like the cartoon style. It's sexy, which fits for the romance. I like the color idea of each god having a bright color so they're easier to distinguish. She can both do fun cartoony beats, and she can do sort of like romantic flowing beats, and it's a very respectful, very intelligent reimagining of the myths. So for someone who doesn't know the myths, I think you're going to like it just as a story. For someone who does love the myths, I think you're going to love Rachel Smythe's take on it. It is very sexy. So, walk in eyes wide open, prepared for that. She has a content warning, of course, that, this is full of mental abuse, sexual trauma, and toxic relationships, which is that's the whole appeal. The Greek gods are extremely badly behaved. And I guess kind of like the romance is you're hoping to see these two get together because it's like they're the good people in the midst of this hedonistic world of selfish bastard gods and goddesses on Olympus. So a very fun first book. My rule is if I enjoy something, I keep reading it. This was good. I'm going to definitely pick up book 2 after reading book 1. And I feel like I have a stronger understanding of how the heck this took off as explosively as it did. Number one Marmaduke fan. Love you guys. Catch you later.